Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Every day, cooking dinner is probably one of the happiest time of the day. When I enter into the kitchen, I feel relaxed and I feel a sense of creativity and energy that surge within me, even though I might have a hot and busy day. And I love the simplicity of my cooking approach, and I feel that it's almost like a meditation to me. I enter the kitchen with a general idea of what I have in my advanced prepping. This gives me a good notion of what dishes that I want to cook. The availability of the ingredients will guide me in how I create my dish. And actually, the process is a creative process because each time I will cook something different. But most importantly, I know that it's going to turn out good. And I know it'll be delicious because from my past experience, it always works. And with my fast cooking system, I don't think there's any technique better than stir frying. It is truly a cooking technique for the 21st century because it is a most effective way for cooking vegetables. And we all know we should eat more vegetables. And without any question, it is a viable alternative for fast and processed food. Stir frying makes vegetables taste great, and this will help you to eat more vegetables. And one of the most significant factor why stir frying is so good in cooking vegetables is that it can create wonderful vegetable medleys with 5 or 6 different kinds of vegetables. And also, you can include proteins in it. It makes it into a one-wok meal. And my friend Max loves cauliflower, and he able to create a cauliflower fruit stir fry as it has been grilled, and the flavor is truly amazing. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to grill cauliflower in the wok. But on top of that, you're going to create an entire meal based on the cauliflowers. This dish is not cooked with a recipe, rather than it is cooked with a very simple basic template for stir frying vegetables. So this dish actually has 5 different kinds of vegetables. In addition, it has shrimp and tofu as proteins, so it makes a complete meal. This dish is a demonstration of my fast cooking system, which is flavor chasing, advanced prepping, stir frying, and templates-based cooking. And when you combine these 4 attributes together, you can cook almost anything you want within 30 minutes. I cook this dish in my Cucina 14-inch stainless steel wok, which is my everyday wok. I'm going to start out with about 1 tablespoon of canola oil. Now, this wok has a natural surface, and it has a great advantage because it has high heat holding capacity. Consequently, that the wok can heat up to very high temperature, and this makes the wok excellent for searing as well as for charring food ingredients. Now, when you use a wok with a non-stick coating, because of the nature of the coating, the temperature of the wok never will be able to get up to the same temperature level as a wok with a natural surface. In addition to stainless steel wok, this also includes carbon steel wok as well as cast iron woks. However, with a wok with natural surface, you need to season it in order to create a non-stick cooked surface. I use a method called spot seasoning. This will allow me to season the wok each time before I cook to guarantee that I will have a non-stick cooked surface. You can take a look at this video to learn more about this seasoning method. Here I'm going to show you a method how to char the cauliflower, give them the flavor as you would have been grilled or roasted the cauliflower. I start out with a relatively small amount of cooking oil. And as you start to stir fry the content, the cauliflower will absorb the oil. As you can see that after you stir fry for a little while, the cauliflower starts to char. The reason is that the oil has been absorbed by the cauliflower, and when it's without the oil on the surface of the wok, the temperature on the surface of the wok becomes very high, and this high temperature then will lead to charring of the cauliflower. And this method is very common for using in stir frying to char ingredients, and it can be used to char other type of ingredients as well, in addition to cauliflower. The key is that you start out with relatively small amount of cooking oil, and once the oil has been depleted, then the high temperature of the wok will causing the charring. In here, the cauliflower is frequently referred to as the primary ingredients. Next, I add what is known as the secondary ingredient, which I add a smaller amount. This mainly to complement the cauliflower. As I often say, the cauliflower is the star of the show. Now, the secondary ingredients are often add a little bit later because I don't want to cook them as much. And then I add a little bit more cooking oil because I do not want the food to burn at this point. The third ingredients I'm going to add is also a secondary ingredient. This is some asparagus. And the reason that I can use so many different kinds of ingredients because they're available in my advanced prepping. All I need to do is going to find them in the refrigerator. And by now the dish is about 50% cooked. I add the shrimp to the wok. Now the shrimp is also served as a secondary ingredient. It is not intended to be the main ingredients in the dish. Instead of the shrimp served more like a condiment. And I also use sequential cooking because I want to cook the shrimp a little bit less than other ingredients. The other protein that I'm going to use for this dish is some tofu. Tofu is already cooked, so I can add it later during this cooking process. All I need to do right now is to warm up the tofu. Now, with everything cooking together at this point, I try to stir fry the content gently so that I do not break up the tofu too much. I'm going to season the dish with my basic seasoning mix, which is a mild seasoning. It intends to create a low salt dish, and it for enhancing the natural flavor of the ingredients. And then I follow by the addition of some sesame oil. This sesame oil also contains a hot oil. The approach in all my dishes is to create a complex flavor so I can reduce salt consumption, which is important in preventing hypertension. And next, I add some colored bell pepper, which I find in the refrigerator. This will make the dish more interesting, both in texture as well as in appearance. After doing a quick taste test, I decided I'm going to improve the umami flavor of the dish by adding some oyster sauce. This is a process of flavor chasing. I always make adjustment of the flavor on the fly because each dish will have a slightly different characteristics, and the flavoring can be adjusted accordingly. At this point, the dish is in fact done. I turn off the heat. I'm going to create a light sauce by adding a small amount of water. And now, this is very much a personal preference. I much prefer a thin sauce versus a thicker sauce. Now, if you would like to have a thicker sauce, you can thicken the sauce with cornstarch, as I have shown in my other videos. Flavor chasing is an important part of my fast cooking system because flavor is ultimately everything. After I did a taste test, I add some hoisin sauce. This will give the dish a little bit sweetness. I always have a panel of sauce available, and I can make adjustments to the flavor of the dish by using various types of sauces, and I often experiment with them until I find the right flavor that I'm looking for. And last but not the least, I add some cherry tomatoes. This provides both flavor and color to the dish. This is very much my personal preference. I add them way toward the end because I want them to cook only very lightly. So when I bite into them, I can still feel the tomato sauce inside the tomato. This dish is truly a one-wok meal. It has 5 different kinds of vegetables, 1 plant protein and 1 animal protein. It provides a nutritional balance in terms of a different type of vitamins in the vegetable, as well as the necessary proteins for our daily requirement. Now, this is a plant-based dish. It contains proteins, so it is frequently known as a flexitarian dish. It has a right amount of proteins from animals but at the same time, it contains many nutritional benefits from eating a vegetarian dish with plenty of fibers that are provided by the vegetables. With cook time less than 10 minutes, this dish truly represents the nature and the goal of my fast cooking system, to make home cooking that is practical, efficient, creative. You can cook it from scratch and using all fresh ingredients. This definitely is a viable alternative in a much more healthy way in comparison to fast and processed food. Now, with advanced prepping and template-based cooking, and when it combines with stir frying, cooking this dish is truly effortless, fun, and creative. And because it is a template-based cooking, you can make substitution and modifications readily. So if you want to learn more about my fast cooking system, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.